In the early 17th century, the Dutch Republic stood at the center of a changing world. Its ships ruled the seas, its merchants filled the ports, and its artists captured the light of a nation that believed progress had no limits. Among the cargo arriving from distant lands came something small, fragile, and new. A flower unlike any seen before in Europe. The tulip, native to the Ottoman Empire, carried an exotic grace that enchanted collectors and scientists alike. At first it was a curiosity, grown in hidden gardens and admired for its color and symmetry. But in a society that measured success in display and refinement, beauty quickly became another form of currency. Amsterdam's wealthy citizens competed to fill their courtyards with the rarest blooms. Each bulb that survived the winter could produce patterns never seen before, flames of red and gold that seemed painted by chance. Botanists tried to catalogue them. Merchants began to trade them. A single bulb could be exchanged for fine cloth, barrels of wine, or even a horse. The flower had become more than decoration. It was a ticket into the circles of taste and privilege. The new republic celebrated commerce as virtue. Hard work, risk, and calculation were the pillars of Dutch identity. A man who could turn soil into profit embodied the ideals of the age. So when tulips entered the market, they fit perfectly into this vision. Something both natural and profitable. Delicate yet measurable. Beautiful yet tradable. By the 1630s, the tulip's fame had spread far beyond the gardens of scholars. Middle-class traders, artisans, even sailors heard rumors of fortunes made from bulbs that multiplied underground. Coffee houses and taverns echoed with talk of prices and patterns. Illustrated catalogues showed fantastical flowers with names like Semper Augustus and Viceroy. Each name whispered the same promise: rarity, and the chance to own what others could not. Behind the admiration lay a subtle transformation. The tulip was no longer valued only for its beauty. It was valued for its potential to rise in price. A thing once rooted in soil was becoming an idea. A number on a slip of paper. Contracts began to circulate, promising future bulbs not yet grown. And yet, few paused to ask what would happen if those promises failed. As winter approached in 1636, Amsterdam glittered under its prosperity. Ships returned, loaded with spices and silver. Paintings sold for sums once reserved for houses. And the flower that bloomed for only a week stood as a symbol of eternal growth. No one could know that within a single year, the same tulip would come to represent fragility and folly. For now, it was simply perfect. A flower worth a fortune. Soon, the fascination would evolve into something far greater. Collectors would become speculators, and gardens would turn into marketplaces. The seeds of the first financial bubble had been planted. At first, tulips were not a symbol of wealth. They were a curiosity, a strange flower from far away, admired for its unusual shape and vivid colors, quietly finding its place in the gardens of Europe. In the early 17th century, the Dutch Republic was changing rapidly. Trade routes stretched farther than ever before. Merchant ships crossed oceans carrying spices, silk, porcelain, and stories from distant worlds. Wealth flowed into cities like Amsterdam, Haarlem, and Leiden, transforming what had once been modest trading ports into centers of commerce and ambition. And with prosperity came something else, a fascination with beauty. The Dutch Golden Age was not merely an era of wealth, it was an age of collecting. Paintings hung on walls where none had before. Exotic seashells sat in cabinets of curiosities. Foreign plants became symbols of sophistication. To possess something rare was to signal refinement, knowledge, and status. And among these new symbols of taste, the tulip stood apart. Unlike roses or lilies, tulips seemed unpredictable. Their petals curved with unusual elegance. Their colors shifted in unexpected ways. Some appeared striped, with vivid flames of red across white petals. Others bloomed in deep purples and rich golds. No two tulips seemed entirely alike, and that unpredictability made them irresistible. One man, perhaps more than anyone else, helped plant the seeds of tulip fascination in the Dutch Republic. A botanist named Carolus Clusius. Born in what is now France, Clusius had spent years studying medicinal plants across Europe. His interests eventually brought him to the University of Leiden, where he became director of one of Europe's earliest botanical gardens. It was here that tulips began to quietly flourish. Clusius treated the flowers as scientific specimens, objects of study. He documented their growth, categorized their variations, and cultivated them carefully within protected gardens. But admiration soon spread beyond academia. Visitors saw the flowers. Merchants took notice. Collectors grew curious. And as demand quietly increased, something unexpected began to happen. Tulip bulbs started disappearing, stolen from gardens under the cover of darkness. Not because they fed the hungry, not because they had medicinal value, but because people simply wanted them. Even in these early years, rarity had begun to create desire. Yet tulips were not easy to grow. Unlike many crops, tulips bloomed only briefly each year. For most of the time, they remained hidden beneath the soil, invisible and dormant. Growing them required patience, and patience often creates scarcity. But another strange phenomenon made certain tulips even more valuable. A mystery hidden inside the flower itself. Some tulips developed spectacular streaks and flame-like patterns across their petals. White flowers became streaked with crimson. Purple blooms fractured into elegant ribbons of color. These rare varieties looked almost painted by hand. At the time, no one understood why this happened. Today, scientists know the answer. A virus. A harmless but transformative infection now known as the tulip-breaking virus. It weakened the flower, but made it astonishingly beautiful. The rarer the pattern, the more valuable the tulip became. And rarity, as history repeatedly reminds us, has always had a price. Slowly, tulips moved beyond botanical gardens and aristocratic collections. A market emerged. At first, it was small. Collectors traded bulbs privately. Garden enthusiasts exchanged rare specimens. Wealthy merchants purchased unusual flowers as status symbols. But something subtle had already begun to change. The flower itself was becoming secondary. The real fascination was no longer beauty. It was ownership, possession, exclusivity. People were no longer simply admiring tulips. They were competing for them. And in a society growing wealthier by the year, competition often moved quickly, especially when profit entered the conversation. By the 1620s, tulip trading had spread quietly through Dutch cities. Taverns became informal meeting places. Merchants discussed rare varieties over wine and candles. Collectors boasted of unusual bulbs they had acquired. Stories circulated of prices quietly rising. A bulb bought one season might be worth more the next. And though few yet realized it, the foundations of something much larger were already being laid. Not a market driven by flowers alone, but by expectation, by speculation, and by an idea as old as human civilization itself. The belief that tomorrow, someone else might be willing to pay more. At first, it seemed harmless, almost rational. After all, the Dutch Republic was thriving. Trade was booming. Confidence was everywhere. If prosperity felt endless, why wouldn't tulips continue rising in value? No alarms sounded. No warnings emerged. No one believed they stood at the edge.